Hi guys, very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the video number 377. My name is Ajay and you're watching this channel where we have actually taken an oath 2 years back that everybody who is going to be associated with this channel and who is going to follow this channel, we will make them pretty awesome in Excel, Excel VBA, MS Access and Access VBA. I welcome all of you once again, and in this today video we're going to actually see the two questions which actually I have got from different people. So I just clubbed them and I thought that these questions actually can be a very good example just in case if you're looking for some loops example. Right, so welcome to the video number 377, and this is going to be the part number 4. Now for those who are watching the channel for the first time, I just want to tell you one thing, that on my channel already we have 44 different playlists, as you can see here on your left side. So just go to the playlist and these are all the different categories. We have almost covered every subject on Excel, VBA and Access VBA. So you will see here different playlist, and each playlist will have different n number of the videos. Now what you need to do is, if you are appearing for your interview and you need some more examples on Excel or Excel VBA or Access, then you should go in this Excel VBA Access interview questions series. Right, now these are 35 videos guys, which can help you a lot in preparing your interviews. Right, now this is going to be the part 4, because I have actually talked about some of the the loops examples in my previous videos also. Like you can see here, video number 247, the part 1, and then the video number 251, the part 2, and so on. You can see this video number 261. So as and when I receive some good questions, I think that can actually be a great help in case if I upload the video and share it with you, then definitely I go ahead. So today we are going to actually discuss 4 different loop patterns, and you can see here I have, this is the pattern, one of the pattern we are going to learn how to make that pattern. And here we are going to see that if you want to make a loop which can export all the sheets of this workbook excluding the sheet names which contain C, then how to do that. And then this is the another the loop where we will actually going to reverse the order. So this is going to be extremely very advanced video, and I hope very much comfortable with the loops basics, because if you do not know the loops basics, then first of all you will have to prepare yourself for that. Otherwise you will not be able to get the benefit of this video. This is something I really want to be very crystal clear on, that it should not happen that while watching the video you are not able to understand and you think that it's a wastage of time. So guys, what you can do is, if you're a beginner, then you can do one thing. You can go here. You will find a playlist which is the, like you have here, Access VBA introduction tutorials. Similarly, you will find here a playlist which says Excel VBA introduction series. Just go through that. If you're a beginner, if you know how to work with the basics, the VBA, then please go ahead and watch the video on the loops. So what you can do is, here in this for example, this is the Excel VBA introduction series, and then further you can find here a series called Excel VBA loops. This is the one actually, right? When you click on that, you'll find here some beginner level videos. There are 35 videos, as you can see, but you need to watch these part 1, part 3, part 4, and so on. And then you can come back and see this video, because this video is not the basic level video. When you appear for the interviews, everybody expects that the VBA very well. So let us go ahead and make this code. So what I'm going to do is, let us first see this actually, the exercise. Now here what we want to do is, this question was put up by one of the subscribers on the YouTube channel, and I really liked it. In fact, on this I had uploaded 2 videos also, right? Different solutions, one using the VLOOKUP and the COUNTIF. You can go and check out that video. I think the video number 375 and the video number 374, where I created a very strong, very powerful, complex array formula without any programming. But in this video we're going to talk about this particular the VB code. I think that was the video number 374, right? So let us go ahead and first of all make the plan. So what we need to do is, this is your main table where you have the header 1 and the header 2, and here we have written some numbers 1 to 3, and what we need to do is, based on these numbers, we want to actually fill out these the blank boxes basically, and it should actually reflect this the values which whatever you write here, that value should be checked in the header 1 column, and the corresponding element from the header 2 should be picked and should be pasted here. So if you see that I have got here A, B and J, right? And there is one more item, I think. Well, no, there is no other item, so I should be leaving this blank just in case. If I write here, let's say 1, then what should happen here, I should see the I, and obviously it should remove from the. That's what actually we want to do, right? So this is your final output, and we are going to make the code over here. Now what is the first thing I want to do? Now there could be several ways of doing it, right? Because every developer, every person has its own the way of the thinking the things, taking the things. Actually, if I'm thinking in one way, you may be thinking in a different way. So that's not the thing, right? What I think that is the best for this, I will give you that solution. But ultimately the aim is not to stick to this particular code, that only this thing, this is the code, this is the only code which can help you, but it actually is going to give you a good understanding. It's going to make you more flexible, it's going to make you more creative, while writing the loops. So let us go ahead and first of all create this. I go to the Visual Basic and I just go ahead and insert the module. Now the first thing which I'm going to do here is that we're going to design first of all what we want to do. Now see that I have written here 1 2 3. So what I will do is I will run the loop 3 times, and each time the loop runs, what will happen, every time when the loop is going to run, before it goes to the second run, it should actually check, it should run this loop, guys, 9 times, and in the 9 times we should be able to check that what is the value here, this E column, and if the 1 is there, which I'm trying to find it out here, then the corresponding element should come automatically, right? So this is really going to be fantastic stuff. So let's go ahead and write the code. So let's say I write here the code 1. Okay, now what we need to do is I'm going to run this. What I will do is I actually want to run this this way. I'm going to use the for each the collection loop. So I will say that for each cell in a range. Okay, in range, what is your range? Now your range actually starts from here, guys, which is J10. So this is how I'm going to write here, J10, and then I will start from J10 to L10. Okay, now this is a collection loop I'm talking about. Now the collection loop, also for the collection loops, if you don't understand collection loops, what you can do is you can go ahead and check out the a playlist called Excel VBA collection loops. There are some basic videos there. Okay, so now we will define this cell. A cell, well, cell is a VBA word, so I just write here CEL, or maybe I can write here my cell, and you have to define it as a range. Okay, and here I'll write my cell. Now this loop simply means that from this range, which is your J10 to L10, the loop keeps on running, right? So that means it is going to run 3 times, and every time it runs, what I will do the comparison of this my cell with E2, E3, E4, E6, E7 and so on. So what we are going to do here, again I'm going to create one more collection loop, which is for each my cell 1. This time I'm going to create my cell 1, and then you write here the range, which is going to be E2. So it starts with the E2 and it is going to end at E10. So this is the way, right? Now I'm just going to write here next. We just correct the spelling. Right, so now what we need to do, the first time when the value will come, obviously your this my cell, if you just put the message box here, just message box, want to see that what is the value, or maybe let me not put the message box, we'll directly run the code to F8 and we'll see. So what actually we are going to say is that if this my cell 1, which is going to start from here, if it is equals to this 1, pick up this A. Simple, right? So we are going to put here if condition. I'm going to say that if my cell 1 dot value. Okay, now you have to define, of course, the my cell as well. So let me just put the comma here and I write here my cell 1 as range. Okay, so you see that we are actually running the sub loop in the loop, right? There is a one inner loop and there is a one this outer loop, and both the loops are the collection loops. This is very fantastic stuff. So we are going to say that if the value of my cell 1 equals to the value of my cell dot value, then what should happen? Then obviously now you understand one thing, this my cell 1 is a part of E2 to E10, so that's how it is going to work in this direction. First it will pick up the E2, then E3, E4, E5 and so on. But what you need to do is you need to publish the item here, from the header 2 here, which belongs to this my cell. It is a part of J10 to J11. So what we are going to do, if these values are equal, then that means from that my cell offset, okay, we'll use the offset on the first row, and on the same column the value has to be printed. Right now, if you're offsetting one row and on the same column from my cell, which means that my cell, the first time on the loop runs, it will be on the J10. So from the J10, if I'm just moving one cell down, this is how I can write the syntax. So offset one row and on the same column, because I will be on this column, so I will not have to change column, right? So that's how it is going to work. Now what value it should be printed? Obviously the value which you would see here, this value would come from my cell 1, right? Because in the my cell 1, if you are on the A2, then you will have to go to the F2, right? If you are on the E2. So what I will do, I will again from that offset, whatever the value I have on the same row number but on the different column, which is to the one column to the right side of this header 1, so that value should come here, right? And just in case if it is not the case, then obviously we will write here else and if, in this way. So let us go ahead and run this code, and let's see how we're gonna get that, right? And so let me just a little bit more space here. Right now we're gonna run the code. There we go. So for each my cell in the range J10 to L10, the first time on the cell which is going to come here is the J10, and in the J10 you have a 1, right? So further you are going inside the loop now, so that means that this loop, basically guys, this loop will run 3 times. Okay, 3 times. Why? Because first it will go in the J10, then it will go in the K10, and then after the K10 it will move to the L10. Right, but first each time and it goes, it has to actually first cover this inner loop as well, where it will again see that it has to run E2 to E10. So first the value, when you're going to run this value will come here as 1, as you can see here, right? This my cell 1, this is the value, because right now my cursor is on E2. Okay, obviously you can't see that, but it is actually in the VBA, in the memory, it's actually on the E2. Right? And in the E2 you have 1, which is perfect. And what is the value here, which is in the J10, that is also 1. So that means this one actually is equals to this one, so we should have A here, right? So that is why when I run this, what this will do, from the my cell, which is your this one, which is J10, offset one row. Offset one row means that it is going to go to the next row, which is obviously this row, and on the same column, so I will be on the J column. So the value which I should have here is, you can see here, A. Why? Because this is my cell 1, and you know that my cell 1 right now, because we are running the loop for the first time, it is E2. So from the E2 it is moving one column and on the same row. So on the same row means that my cursor would be this cell which is on the E2. From the E2, if I offset my the syntax, which is going to be offset one column and the 0 row, that would be A. I'm on the same row but on the right side of that cell, one column offset. So that means I should see here a value called A. It makes sense to me, right? And if now the next is again it will go in the E3. Now remember guys, this is the inner loop which is running, right? So I will be on the E3 and then E4 and then E5, E6, E7, E8, E9, E10, but at the same time this cursor will never move. It will always be 1, because this is the outer loop. When I will execute this bigger part, the next part, only then it will go to the K 10. So right now if you hover your cursor over here, you still see that this my cell 1 is giving you 1, and this my cell value again is giving you 1, because of the reason that this one is further equals to this one, which is in the E3. So again you will have a new value. Now what is a new value actually? So if I just run this code, this is going to give me the B, right? Now you know that why it is giving you a B, because of the reason that right now your cursor is on this E3, right? Because E2 to E10, so from the E3 it will offset the one column, right? But when you execute this function, see what will happen. It will actually overwrite this B. Reason is very simple, because this my cell is not moving. It is still on that cell, and you're saying that, just offset me one row, and that would be the same, you know that would be the same place where it is going to print this B after printing the A. So the next time if I again run this, again your my cell is not moving at all, because this next is not coming yet, right? So it is still on the J10. So again you will have a new value which is J, and that is something we never wanted. So let me reset the code. So that means that this actually, ideally, this offset function should keep on changing. It should be 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4, right? I can write here row. Once you write the row here, then you define here the R, which is R as long, okay? And then what you need to do is you need to begin with the R as equals to 1. So I'll initially allocate this R as 1, because the first time when this comparison will be true, R should be one row down from the my cell, which is obviously would be this 1. And then every time when this comparison happens, it should increment by 1. That's it. Okay, so let us go ahead and run this code. So I'm going to run this code again. Here we go. So now I'm going to run this, and obviously you would see here A, again it will go. Now the comparison will happen with this one and this one. You have the B now. Why? Because your R is incrementing. Now the R is going to be 3. So the next time when the code runs, what is the value? Now it is still 1 because of this, value in the E4, and which is getting compared with this my cell value, which is 1, right? So again you will have a new value, but this time the R is going to be 3. So actually you're saying that from this 1, offset me 3 rows down. That means that you're gonna be on 1, 2 and 3. So you will have a J, right? Next, now the next value you can see here, it is going to be 2, obviously, because you are now on E, the 5. So if you're on the E5, now E5 is going to be compared with the same value, which is your my cell, this one, okay, which is your J11, sorry, J10, right? So this will go in the else mode, and again it will go in the, okay, so we got one more here. So you have I here and endif, now else endif. So the loop is not now going to capture anything here because there's no one. So this will run very fast, and there we go. And look at this. So this loop actually has run E2 to E10 time, and now it will go in the next value. Now what is the next value in this the bigger loop? Obviously it's going to be J10 is covered, so now the next value is going to be K10. If I now just start comparing, you see that here I should see 2. Perfect. Now this 2 is going to be compared again with E2 to E10 again. So you will have this 2 getting compared with this 1, with this 1, with this 1, 2, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, right, and so on. So now you know that this is the 1, which is this value, which is E2. So obviously this is not equals to this, so we will go in the else mode. Okay, and then again I'm gonna have this code run. Again you will have the new value, which is still 1, and 2 it is not equal, and then again you will have the else mode. Now the next time when you run this, guys, this is going to be 2, right, because now you are actually on the E5. So E5 is going to be compared with my value, which is coming from K10 2, and now the code will run. But the point is, you see here that the R is actually 5, because when you stop the code here, R was actually 5. So the same value you're going to use it here. So what will happen, this R equals to 5 will be printed from this 2, it is going to actually go 5 rows down, which means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you will have here the value coming here D, which is actually wrong. So what is a mistake we have done? So basically when this when this loop is going to finish, you should have to make your R again 1, R equals to 1, in this way, right? Now when you're going to run this code, what will happen when you're going to run this code, you will, let me just hide this so that we can see the window clearly. Okay, now let me delete this quickly and let's run the code. I hope you understood this. This is a complete code. I'm going to run this quickly. Have all the ABG. There we go. There we go. Now you see that the value in the R is 5, and now it is going to run the second time, which then the comparison will happen with the key, k10, which is 2. So we have to make this 1, so that again when the code starts, this r actually should be considered as 1 and we should have a new value here. So we run this code. There we go. You can see here I got the D, and I think it's only the D. So again we will run this code quickly. There we go. And here now again I'm going to change the R again, back to 1. Now the next time the comparison will happen, so now you have here in the comparison you have the L10, and here again the comparison with the L10 happen, and we will start comparing it with the E2, E3, E4, and so on. So now you have the same thing. 1 is going to be compared with 3, right? So obviously it is not equal, it goes in the else. Again you have 1 and then you have 3, so else again you have 1, you have here 3, right? Now you will have 2 here, you can see here, because it is moving, so 2 is not equals to, obviously, and then again you have here 1, and then you have here 3, which is not equals to. Now the next time when it runs, it should be on the E7, and there you will have here 3, and this is what exactly it is, right? So now it's going to offset by what? By 1 row. You can see here, right? My cell is already on this L10, right, from this loop. So from there it is going to offset 1 row, and you will have your new value here, which is T, right? R is going to be incremented, and this is how, guys, you can make this pretty awesome code. There we go. That's it. Now I don't think so it should run, because you have run this code 3 times, J10 and then K10, L10, and there we go. Wow, wonderful. That's how your code is done. This is your guys code, and this is, so what we have learned is not only the loops, but the fantastic example of the how to use the sub loops in the loops, right? So Harsha actually had posted this comment I think 2-3 days back, and so I thought it's a very good question. I put it in your Excel, this VBA Access interview series. So this is the part 1, and let's go to the part 2, which is your code number 2, and here now we're gonna make this wonderful code, right? So let us go ahead and now create this loop, and sorry about this should not be there, because I have to run this actually uniformly distributed. These numbers are uniformly distributed. So if you look at the code, this what happens, it is actually diagonally working. The first time when it runs, so here it runs 4, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 times, right? And then immediately from here it moves in the backward direction. Again 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So basically I want to run this loop 18 times, right? One is from the left to the right, and then from the right to left. This is what I actually have thought of, right? So what we will do is, this looks a little complicated, but I think we can make this pretty easy. So what I will do, let me first of all delete this, and let us go ahead to the developer tab, and the Visual Basic, I'm just going to insert a new module here. Okay, so in the new module now we're going to write this code. So the first thing which is very much clear, that we will have to run this loop 9 times. So I'm just going to write here dim I as, let's say, long, and we're going to run this here dim I equals to 1 to 9 times. Okay, this is a simple loop. I'm using the for next loop, and here I will write here what I need to print is, I need to print in the R, which is going to be my row number, and I'm going to write here I, which I will use as a column number. The value has to be equals to 1, right? So if I just run this code, guys, let me just run this code, and I just forgot to write the name of the macro. That's very weird. How can I forget the name of the macro? Okay, so this is what you have written so far. This is your code actually, which looks pretty cool, very straightforward, right? But it is not, because the moment you will have to work on the the other part as well, where you're gonna actually reverse it. Then we will see there will be a little of adjustments we will have to make. But first of all, let us just run this. Okay, so R is not defined here. Yes, I forgot. R is actually for my row number, and I'm gonna write here R equals to R plus 1. And of course I will have to declare R as long, and the first time that when the R starts, it should start with the 1. Basically R is going to be my row number. That's it, right? And let me just go and increase the size as well. Let me make it 10. Okay, so now let us run this, guys. So the loop is going to run 9 times, and this is where we are going to start the row number 1, and the column number again is 1 because it is coming from I. So obviously this is going to be the cell number A1 where I will have this 1 printed. Right. Now R is going to be incremented, so now the value in the R is going to be 2, and the column is also going to be incremented because loop is running. So I is going to be 2 now. So obviously you are on the row number 2 and the column number 2. So this way I think we can run this loop 9 times, and every time the row number and the column is getting incremented. So this is how the loop will run. Perfect, right? Now the first part is done. Now what I want to do is now once you are actually here, which means that once this loop is finished, okay, now once this loop is finished, I want to change the order. I want to go back to the row number 1 but with the column number 9, and then from the column number 9 I want to reduce it by 1. I want to go to the 8 column. Of course the row is going to be incremented. Again the row will be incremented but the column will be decremented, right? So what I will do here is I will first of all make sure that R is going to be 1 once this loop is finished. And by the way, you need to run this loop 2 times. So here I'm going to write here index equals to 1 to 2. Okay, you can declare any variable. So this loop should run 2 times basically. That's what actually my plan is all about. So let me just give some indenting here so that you should be able to understand. So yeah, that's it. Right, so this is because I want to first run the loop in this way, left to right, in the positive direction, and then once it reaches I will start the loop here and then I move in this direction. So that is why actually I have written that index 1 equals to 1 to 2, right? So let me define the index as well. Okay, and this is also we're going to define it as a long. Okay, now what is the next thing I want to do? Well, the next thing I want to do, guys, here something very interesting I'm doing. If you know the step word, if you write here step -1, then what does that mean? That means the loop will run in the reverse direction, right? You use this step -1 when you want to go from the higher to the lower side. For example, you want to say for index equals to 9 to 1, step -1. So that would mean that from the 9 it will start decrementing, -1. So 9, 8, 7, 6 and so on. If you write a step as -2, then from the 9 it will go to the 7 and then 5. That's how it's going to go. But I will declare everything here as something with the help of the variables. So I'm going to write here that this is I'm going to declare as step M. For example, I declare here M, right? I'm going to declare here M, right? And when the code is going to begin, the M should be 1. Step 1 means that it should simply go ahead and incrementing the values by 1, which by default also the loop does that, right? So this 1 and 2 is also we're going to change this. So I'm going to change this to index K to L. I'll tell you the reason. So K and L also we're going to define here K as long. Okay, and then we're going to define this L as long. Perfect. And then you will have to write here the K value as well. So I just write everything in the one line to save the space. So I'm going to write this K equals to 1 and then L has to be equals to 9. First of all, that's what I want to do. Okay, and in fact I can put everything in simple one line. So there we go, right? Okay, so now what is the plan? The plan is when the first time the loop runs, obviously K will run from 1 to 9 with the increment of 1, step 1, right, which is a positive, right? So the loop will run in this way. Okay, and by the way, guys, I apologize, actually it should have been here K to L and step M, right? Because this is fixed. We need to run this 2 times. That's it. So we will not do any changes here. That's a bigger loop. I want to run this loop 2 times, but every time the loop runs, when the first time the loop runs, it should actually work from 1 to 9 and then with the increment of 1. Step 1, right? It is not mandatory to write this step 1, but why I'm writing it, because for the second loop actually it is going to work as a wonder, right? I'll tell you the reason. Because after your loop finishes here, what you will do, you will change this M value. You're gonna make this M value as -1. Then similarly we will have to see that what we want to do for the other things. For example, this K equals to K to L. Now this the value in the K, this also has to be 9. So we are going to reverse the order, guys, right? And then the L has to be what? L has to be 1. Right? So what will happen when this loop finishes, when this particular loop finishes, the next time when the loop is going to run, where you will have index as 2, this k is going to be 9 and this l is going to be 1. So 9 to 1 it will happen, but you will have to use the step m, because then you will be able to tell that it has to go in this, with the difference of -1, and that's why I have written here -1, guys. Right, so let us go ahead and first of all run this code. You will understand then. So there we go, all the values are assigned, perfect. And now we're gonna have we're gonna run this loop 1 2 9 times. Okay, so the loop will run 9 times and with then increment 1. Right, so here you will have a value called r as 1, which is the row number 1, and the column is going to be 1 again. So the same values will be printed here. So you can see here that this loop will run the same way as we saw earlier, right? The only difference is I have created here k and l. Previously it was 1 to 9. So the loop is going to run. There we go. Now is the value here I, so finished, right? But once it is finished, we will have to run the loop again from here, and to go to this cell I have to be on the 9, and that is why I have defined this k as 9, because I'm actually using this this I here, and this I equals to k. So k means that once the k will be 9, I will also be 9. So we're gonna have here 9th column, and of course the row number will be again, we are going to right now the row number is 10 because you're on the row number 10, but this row equals to r equals to 1 will make it 1, and I will be on here the row number 1. So that is why I'm doing all this. Now if you look at this code again, once again from the very beginning, then this says that you please run this loop 9 to 1, means 9 8 7, but with the step -1. That is why it is going to go in the previous direction, right? So if you look at this, it is 9 to 1 and with the decrement of -1. So what will happen when you run this line, this r is going to be 1 and this I is going to be 9. So that means you are on the row number 1 and 9. So if I just run this, you see that I have got here 1. Now r is going to be incremented, obviously. Now the new value is r is 2 and the I is going to be 8. So you are on the column number 8, which is h, and you are on the row number 2, which means that you are actually on the h2. So in this way, now the numbers will start moving in the backward direction. There we go, there we go, and that's it, guys. That's it, finished. Now this is going to obviously run this, but it's not gonna impact us because index is now already 2. So we have run the loop 2 times, and there we go, finished. Right, so in this way you can run this loop, and this is a very powerful loop, right? Again, one more example of using the loop in the loop, but this time look at the way how we have used it, how beautifully we have used the step word. That's it. Now let's go to the the code number 3, which is the question number 3. Now the question number 3 talks about import the sheet names which does not contain alphabet C. So in this case, we are going to use another collection loop, which is going to be the for each worksheet in the worksheet, right? So this is what I'm going to start here, the code 3, and now I'm going to write here dim ws as worksheet. The worksheet is the class you're going to use, and then you will write for each worksheet in worksheets. That means that loop through all the worksheets one by one, right? And then we're going to use the value, we're going to import the values here in this code 3 sheet. So what you will write here that if your worksheet name, okay, if your worksheet name contains the word called what was the word actually? It was C, right? So this is how you write, like, and then you write the C, and before you are going to put this star in front of the C, okay, and also before the C. So what happens when you write the star is actually the wild character. That means it can come anywhere, right? So this is how you're gonna write it, right? That's how you're gonna write this code. So then what should happen? So let's have the name in the sheet, which is code 3. So this is how we're going to write sheets, and then I'm going to write the sheet name, which is 3, and the cells and the row number. Let's declare a variable by this row number name and dot value equals to ws dot name, right? And if it is not the case, then simply go in the else and do nothing, and if. So that's how the code should look like, and of course we will have to declare the row number as well. So I'm just going to declare row number as long, and number should start absolutely with 1, so that we can have a value in the row number 1. And then if you have more sheets, obviously the next value should be reflected in the next row. Right now we already know that actually we don't have any sheet here which is without the C word, so I don't think so they should export anything over here, but still we would like to give it a try. So let's go ahead and run the code, and there we go. So you see that else and else and else, and okay, so there is one the code, and that's what we have to see. So it is actually code 1. And by the way, I think there is a problem because we never actually wanted to export any sheet which contains the word called code, right? The C. Import the sheet names which does not contain. So I think I have the condition actually wrong. It should go in the else mode, right? That's where we need to write, because if the sheet contains C word, then it should actually go in the then mode, and over here it should do nothing. This is just to explain you. I'm writing the comment here. Let me give some tab over here, and that's how it is. Yeah, so I'll just delete the code, and we're going to run the code now again. So let me run the code. There we go. Now what is the first name? It is the arrays lookup. All right, so we have some I think there is some arrays lookup. There is as such no sheet with this name. So I go and check the code again. Let me unhide some sheets. I think, yeah, these are some sheets which actually we have got here. So obviously these sheets also are going to be accessed. So I actually can do one thing. So that's fine. I mean, we have the arrays lookup, arrays reverse the order, VLOOKUP, and these sheets contain we have to see C. So arrays doesn't contain arrays. Reverse the order contains this C word. I don't think so, and the VLOOKUP also doesn't contain. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me run the code again. So we should have here 3 sheets coming, right? So the first sheet actually is arrays lookup. So you can see here it goes in the else mode, and now we should have here arrays lookup. Very nice. The row number is going to be incremented by 1. Again, now the turn for the next sheet, which is again hidden, which is arrays reverse the order, and it again goes in the else mode. Nice. You can see here that it's pasted on the row number 2, right? Because of this row equals to row plus 1. Okay, and again we have the another sheet, and that's it. I think now endif, because all the sheets contains is C word, as you can see here, code, and then endif, next, and then what is the last sheet? It is code 4, and this should also go in the endif mode because else part will not run. Okay, and there we go. That's it, guys. I think so. This is a pretty good code which gives you the understanding how you can use the star, right? When you write the star, actually please ensure it should be written within the quotes, because star, right, when you write the star, it means that anything can come there, right? It can hold n number of characters, infinite characters. So writing it, prefixing it, and suffixing it, it simply means that it can have any value. Alright, so let's go to the question number 4, which is using the loops, please reverse the order and do not use any VBA function. Now guys, in the VBA also there is a function which can reverse this, and if you want to use that can be pretty simple. There is a function which can reverse this, str reverse, I think rev, that's the function, but we're not going to talk. But I have a simply doubt here, because somebody sent out this email to me, this question actually, and I'm pretty much shocked to see that they have put the condition do not use any VBA function, because I think without the VBA function it is not going to be possible. I don't think so. If you guys have any solution, you can make that program without using any function and can reverse the order, please let me know about it. But I think definitely we need the function here. You can directly use the str reverse function, or you can create the mid function also, because mid can give you the or you can split this QWERTY separately in the VBA program, and then you can just simply concatenate this in the reverse order, right? So I will definitely go ahead and use this function, not the mid function, but there is another function which I will use, and let me insert the module here, and then we'll just begin with the code. So guys, what we need to do is, again we are going to use this the collection loop, which is for each cell in a range, and range, as you know, it is going to be 1 to A6. So this is what I will write. And uh, yes, so we're gonna, oops, I think that's the issue. Each my cell in range, and we're gonna write here next. Perfect. And I'm going to declare my dim myself as range as well. Okay, and I just forgot to put the quote here. That's it. Now what you want to do is, so now if I just write this, I explained this though in the previous exercise also, but if you just run it, then what will happen, you will have all the, you know, the values coming here in this range, which is A1 to A6. You can see here we have getting all the values one by one, right? Now what we need is, at the same time, when we have the values, we don't want to show that the message box, but instead of that, we will from the, you know, the same cell where we are just on the same row, but with the column number 1, the value should be the value which we want to write. So that means offset me by 1 column, which would be the B column. What you want to do is, you can use the strings class, and in the strings class there is a function called string reverse, str reverse. So it will simply actually reverse the value, whatever the string you will write. So I'm going to just write here my cell dot value. So my cell dot value would be, you know, this, and then this, and this, and then this. So directly this function is going to reverse the order, right? So through this exercise also, you are going to learn a new function, which is string reverse, right? You don't have to really use the mid function. You can, but I think when you have a direct function, what is the you know, why would you write the mid function? Because then you will have to do a couple of adjustments there, right? So don't want to do that. I just simply run this code, and now you can see here that the moment I run this keeps on giving me all the values in the reverse order. Perfect, right? So here you have all the codes, guys, and that's how, you know, you can see this is the first code, and now this was the second code which we have written here, right? And then this is the another one, right? You can pause the video, you can see that if you just want to write the code. And then this is the module 1 code, which is for the question number 1, right? So I hope you enjoyed this loop series, and this has further, I'm sure, further has strengthened your knowledge today in writing the programs. Any questions you want to ask me, please post your comments there, right? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with some another exciting stuff. Thank you so much, guys, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Bye bye.